Hey team, this is George. Appreciate everybody jumping in and getting started. We've had a lot of fantastic poll responses here. I like doing this just to kind of keep things moving forward, keep it fun, keep it forcing us to think from a different perspective. Within our class, I have really enjoyed getting to know everyone in our discussion forum and the introduction. And what I found is that we have a fantastic amount of perspective and experiences within our class. We have people that live all over the world. We have people from multiple different careers and everything else. So it's just fantastic where all of our experiences come from. That's going to make this a very rich class that we can kind of dive into. So if you haven't got to know everybody from the discussion boards, I would suggest just jump in there and get to know everyone. And throughout the weeks, I'm going to be jumping in and telling you some of my epic fails within project management, a few things that have worked too, I hope as well. And the single biggest thing that I have found in project management to be successful is to understand people. And that is different for every situation that you go into. So understand that people are dynamic. We all have different needs. I know everybody's probably heard of Maslow's hierarchy and Johari's window. I'll go over that stuff later, but we all come in with our own set of experiences, and we have to understand that everybody else comes in to whatever the project is with their own set of experiences. So it's kind of been great to see the different experiences that everyone in our class comes into, and I want to kind of illustrate this with a couple things for this week's sort of micro learning that I like to do. So we're going to be having a discussion here, and then in week 2, we're going to actually be building a conceptual relationship sort of diagram with ID and PM. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But I want to kind of jump in. So this is some of us getting to know each other and understand that project management, the biggest fails are because of people. And if you're the project manager, that falls square on your shoulders. So project management, anytime something goes wrong in the project, we have to take complete ownership of that project, complete ownership of any fails as well, and figure out how to overcome them. That's the biggest thing, because I haven't been on a project yet where there hasn't been some type of fail that we've had to overcome. In a couple of days, I'll post my first story. So when I post stories, feel free to disregard them. I'll put a little note, feel free to disregard. But it's anecdotal stuff that I've failed at and then hopefully overcome as we go through. So always remember, failure in project management, if we have those little failures along the way, are great opportunities to grow and make things even better. And I'll illustrate that point in a few ways. So you as the leader are the link for that project. So let's say I worked in manufacturing primarily. So I was the link between manufacturing and their needs and organizational needs, employee needs, and everything else. So the PM is that link. So the PM is what makes great ID into stuff that employees can actually use and move forward with. So from that perspective, we're going to jump into the choice. So have some fun with me for this one. Okay. Choose a number between 1 and 5. Do you have that number? Okay. Multiply that number by 9. If your number is 1 digit, remember, if it's 2 digits, add them together. Okay, subtract 5 from whatever number you came up with, and that's your final number. Okay, now we're going to make that number into a letter. So if you ended up with a 1, your letter A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5E, 6F. So whatever number you came up with, translate it to a letter. Pick a country that starts with that letter. Take the last letter of your country and think of an animal that begins with that letter. Using the last letter of the animal you chose, think of a color. How many of us came up with an orange kangaroo from Denmark? Probably quite a few of us, at least 80%. There's other choices, but through this process, through the questions that I was asking, I was shaping your answer. So think of that from a project management perspective. Notice everything, when it would go away, it would become orange, nice and orange. All that shape. Now the questions, let's take a look at those. Choose a number between 1 and 5. No matter what number you choose, when you multiply it by 9, you're going to end up, when we add those two digits together, with a 9. Automatically, when you subtract 5 from 9, you automatically get 4, so everybody's at D. So we're shaping the responses. Now this can be very purposeful, or we can do this and not realize it. So if we need to be creative, we need to realize that the questions that we ask can limit or funnel the responses of the people on our team. Whereas if we are looking for something like manufacturing, like, okay, now it's just time to get the job done, then those questions we do want to funnel. So we can be very purposeful with that and keep the focus. Whereas when we're creative, we don't want that. We want to keep a container where we want our creativity in, but we don't want to force choices, if you will, or limit choices. We want to make them more and more opportunities. So with that said, think of any of your past experiences that were bad. Was it because of the questions that we asked? Most of the time when I made a lot of mistakes, it was because my questions I was asking and the way I would ask them to the people on the team was not helpful, because it would end up funneling all the responses into a certain way rather than get the best answers out of a project. So I'm going to go over that probably Thursday. I'll post something that illustrates that point. But just know that as we go into this and as you go into project management, the questions you ask and how you ask them are important, because they tend to structure the responses. So if you need an unstructured, creative, just brainstorm, be very careful. If you need that focused approach to get things done quickly, then be very purposeful about how you ask those questions, so you can force or funnel all of that energy into one direction. So I hope this part was helpful. And Thursday, I'll post another one. And I look forward to seeing, reading all of the projects that you've had from your own experience. Hopefully, some are good, some are bad, but we learn from everything that we do. And on a side note, this is my first one. I'm very easy to get a hold of. Feel free to text, email, whatever works best for you. So have a fantastic week.